Welcome to Community Watch, and today we're having a very interesting conversation with Mr. John Druckenmiller to talk about new things happening at Hometown Headlines. Stay tuned, Community Watch starts now.
Welcome to Community Watch, Greg.
Good, Doctor. How you doing, sir? I'm doing fine, and yourself?
Well, I'm all right. I'm all right. It's good to see you, and I know you are as excited as I am about our guest today. One of our favorite guests, I think I can easily say that, and it is John Druckenmiller. Welcome back.
Mr. Hershey, Shropshire, thank you very much. Favorite. I feel honored, my friends.
Well, most folks know you as the editor-in-chief. I guess that is, well, you are the editor-in-chief and probably a lot more than that for Hometown Headlines. And that online paper has got some news of its own to share. We want to talk about that. But remind us, how long has Hometown Headlines been in existence?
Exactly 18 years and 3 weeks.
Wow. 18 years.
I'm legal.
At long last.
Exactly.
Well, share with us the news about developments at Hometown Headlines.
All right, we'll do that. It's a bit of a homecoming. It's probably the best story for it. Like I said, we've been around 18 years and operated as independent. We had a lot of associations and partnerships. We did a magazine for like all of 6 months, one of a bestseller apparently, and did the radio show with over at RGA for 8 years. Had a lot of fun with that actually, and also did our normal thing, did a little teaching on the side at Berry College, but we were rocking along. I'm 67 now. I'm in no hurry to really pack it in. I mean, a college professor friend of mine kind of retired and I think came out of retirement because he was so bored. So following that John Hershey example, we had conversations going on about, a potential couple of people kind of stepped up and said, hey, we're interested and maybe you want to take it over. And we had a conversation with John Bailey, the editor of the Rome News Tribune, across a dinner table one night down at the Yummy Time. He goes, well, send, the folks, my bosses at Marietta, a proposal. That was September. And we closed the deal, week and a half ago.
Wow. Well, I know that your history with the Rome News has been sort of, here and there. So
a good way to put that.
So things are different now, and I assume they are going to work with you in all the ways that are important. And of course, John Bailey is a great guy. So your concerns, I am assuming, were all answered.
Well, that's a good way to put it. And John Bailey has been an ambassador very quickly. Back, when the pandemic started back in March, there was a massive meeting. I'm serious when I say massive. I mean, everybody is anybody in the county government and school boards and all. We all met down at East 12th at the Emergency Operations Center for a big, kind of a COVID, I hate to say kumbaya, but it's what it was. And at that meeting, John was there and David Crowder from RGA and I. And we all kind of huddled afterward and said, look, this is bigger than all of us. And, maybe we all need to be adults and cooperate and work together. And since that time, we started just a tweet chain or a text chain or something like that. And so when big things happen in the last couple of years, we've all kind of talked more, but John was kind of the, an ambassador in that, kind of helped bring that together. He and I we've been friends. I mean, we're not throwing rocks at each other across a city commission meeting or whatever. And it just kind of matured and kind of morphed. And then, like I said, that conversation over, at different dinner tables one night, the folks at Marietta, Otis Brumby III, J.K. Murphy have been wonderful to work with. Great partners, great partnerships. We had the negotiations for the purchase and all, and any deal like this, and it is a purchase, and then it's there's a deployment contract on the side. But it really went so smoothly. It was like I said, it's good to be home.
Mr. Druckenmiller, so I'm curious exactly what will your role be going forward with this purchase?
Well, I'm one of these Star Trek guys, so I needed a title. So I kind of said, well, how about enterprise editor? Basically, John Bailey is the editor. I work for John Bailey. I work for J.K. Murphy. I work for Otis Brumby. But this is the part that took me a little bit a chance to get used to. Hometown Headlines basically stays as it is. There'll be some tweaking. Thank God they're going to move us under their system, our layout and design. As our design chief tells me, she's of course somebody we use like on a part-time basis, that we're about that far from crumbling on the website because our stuff is just so old. I mean, it's okay. It's all modern, it's all digital, but it's just been, all the new stuff coming in. So we'll go under their system. We'll get a little bit of a new look, but just about everything you see on the page will remain the same. But we'll have more backup. We'll have more tech support for me. We have a whole IT department to work with now. Advertising will stay the same. We have talked to all the advertisers and they've been very supportive about the move. They're excited that we'll remain. I call it a wholly owned subsidiary, but that's just, garbage talk. But yeah, Hometown Headlines will not change. We'll share a lot more. There may be a few more things rather than, me doing it and John doing it or the Rome News Tribune staff doing it. We'll share a lot more resources along the way, but that way gives us some more time to focus on bigger stories and more important stories.
Well, I have to ask this question because one of the great joys of Hometown Headlines is that it's been free, online for free. And I just wondered if that will stay the same under the new home.
That is what's that question? I don't want to put a dollar value on it because it'll negate free. No, we are free and we will stay free. As far as I know, there is no immediate or short-term, and who knows, I can't say the long-term, that'll go beyond whenever I'm here. Immediate plan is leave us as is, no charge for content.
Well, that's great. That's good.
That's really great.
Well, that's been one of our appeals. We're kind of like a PBS, I guess. We are advertiser supportive. We always have been. Now, let me back up. We have a very strict wall. And this is the news side, and this is the advertising side, and we've never crossed that wall. I haven't had somebody say, "Well, look, I got a big ad in your thing, so I expect better coverage." It doesn't happen that way. News is news, and we are blessed to have every advertiser on our website who has never tried to cross that line.
Well, I have to say, one of the things that I have come to treasure about Hometown Headlines is that it provides not only, I was going to say on a daily basis, but actually it changes throughout the day. So it offers kind of the summary of things that you want to know about quickly, and you update that pretty regularly through the day. When something's coming up, I know where to look to see, and the newspaper does other things well, but Hometown Headlines has really served a wonderful purpose with weather and traffic information and those things that Rome News just can't do in as timely a way as you have been able to do. So thank you for that.
Well, no, thank you for that. The paper, right now, we talked briefly about John Bailey joining us in this conversation, and John is over at the Rome City Commission as we tape this, going through what's going to be a 2-hour caucus on water rates. Now Yeah, I'm with you. Good luck, buddy. I'll take care of the eagle attack. You do. But honest to God, it's going to be a major story, and I do recommend people please follow that story up because we've got some pretty serious water rate hikes coming up here. And yeah, and they do a much better. They do a lot more of a longer, more in depth kind of stuff. We may be more. We're not a buffet. We're not quick hit, but we try to give you here's the nut of the story. Here's the important part of the thing. What's going on. And they will do, I think, a better job and more in depth. And what's going to be cool about this, it's already happening, is the synergy, the things they do well, we can kind of say, for more information, go to the Rome News Tribune, or in kind of the quiet background that no one's really put together yet, is the advantage also of we have the whole Marietta newspaper resources behind us as well. And we can tap into that. Sad, quick example. Over the weekend, you probably heard about the 10-year-old who died in a house fire over in Cartersville. Horrible story. It was a former quarterback and gymnast for Georgia. The young man was staying with his brother, his siblings, with the grandma. There was a fire in his beautiful house. The young man lost his life. And we had the breaking news on that. Well, the Marietta paper, because the young man does go to North Cobb Christian School, was able to go much deeper into that. And we talk to they really delivered a great job about who this young man was, and we were able to tap into those resources and add that to what we had. So it really gives us, I think about it, a much broader Northwest Georgia news experience. I'm gonna coin that phrase. A broader North.
That all sounds great, and I'm quite sure you're great to have the resources. But I am curious, and I have to ask this. Will you have the flexibility and freedom to present stories like you have in the past?
I would say yes. I have had no incident on all. We're in day number 9 of this, and absolutely nothing has come up. Hey, Marietta said you can't do this, or Rome News says you can't do that. We've had none of that come up. I don't think so. They want hometown headlines as is. I got to tell you, I was quite flattered to read some of their comments. They worked on the story for Rome News Tribune to announce the purchase. I did a column format. I think we communicate better that way. And I'm reading their stuff. I'm like, man, I wish I would have said that. No, they've been quite complimentary and quite supportive. I think it's going to be a very easy and be easy to go along with. Again, I don't think we're going to change much what we do, if much at all. I might work fewer hours or make it, what's that term? I might work smarter hours. How's that?
So we can expect that you will still give us the sort of peaks and valleys, editorial Druckenmiller content, and perhaps occasional interviews, not really podcast style, but somewhat.
I think you'll see more podcasts coming up. I think also Peaks and Valleys and our newsletter might get a name change, but you'll see 3 of those starting in the future. Right now we do 2 a week. We'll move that to 3. I think we're going to wait till we get the redesign and all done, which will be soon. It has to be very soon. To start to 3 times a week. But yeah, we've had a lot of success with that, and Peaks and Valleys have been a lot of fun.
Well, I'm excited that Hometown Headlines will stay much as it has, and that you've got a new technology and support and all of those things. And so it sounds great so far. We're coming up on a break here shortly, and I want to get into some other issues, but it sounds so far so good. So
well, keep me honest. I know you will.
All right. Well, we will be right back after this short break, so don't go away.
I know you've had your moments of doubt and struggle, and I'm here to say I'm proud of you.
And although each one of us may take a different path, may we look back upon today as the moment we stepped into a larger world, a greater world.
You will pass this way but once. Do it right.
If ever there was a time to follow your passion and do something that matters to you, Now is certainly that time.
Welcome back to Community Watch, and we are in the middle of a conversation with John Druckenmiller, the editor of Hometown Headlines, now part of the Rome News Tribune. And will the link stay the same?
Things should stay the same. Should not be any change there. Again, when we do a little bit of back end stuff, and I won't go into the technology because I don't understand it, but we will. Okay, I do will this one. We will migrate all of our stuff under the Marietta Rome News umbrella, and they'll tweak the site, all that kind of good stuff. So if anything, it probably should work better, actually.
Well, we have not had you on the show since before the pandemic, I don't believe, and or what I like to call the before time. And you did mention already what sounded like a very healthy communication between media leaders, including John Bailey, the editor of the Rome News, who, by the way, is a Georgia Highlands alum. I need to get that out there. But I am curious, though, about how the pandemic has affected Hometown Headlines and your focus on stories and any other way that it has impacted what you are doing.
Before we do that, let me thank you guys for your repeated coverage of that, especially, by the way, no one does Zoom better than Gary Vocio. Let's go ahead and stress that part right there.
Yeah.
But I appreciate all y'all's interviews with Gary. Y'all have been very consistent about that. As you may know from how your numbers look, the pandemic does nothing to quote, boost our sales, as people say. Are we selling more newspapers? Exact opposite. There are days when it's the least threat thing. Example, today, 8 people have died in Northwest Georgia over the weekend. We have lost 65 people since February 1st in our 5 immediate counties: Floyd, Bartow, Gordon, Polk, Tortuga. It'll be the least read story tomorrow morning that we do. Well, maybe something a little bit less than that. People say, oh, you're trying to build readership, trying to do whatever, or you're trying to scare people. I wish it would scare people, because I want people scared, because this stuff is still dangerous out there. We are now seeing the deaths that Gary told you guys about. Always a 3 or 4 week delay behind the spike when we start to see deaths. It just takes that long sometimes. It's still a very critical story. I mean, you're reading about the governor today. It's just Monday when we're doing this. Has introduced legislation to make schools ban using masks. Absolutely blows my mind that a governor of a state will do that. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent. I mean, let the school system decide what's right for the school system. Anyway, it is not a news leader. We had to kill a 30,000, almost 30,000 page or Facebook page for Hometown Headlines because we could not control comments. I hate any kind of censorship whatsoever. However, I couldn't control the number of people putting on bad medical advice, attacking people nationally and locally. And that was also during the 2020 election. We killed that page and created a group page that does give us control over comments. Quite frankly, we don't do comments right now. We don't need the hits, so to speak, because they're so outlandish, and more important, they endanger people's lives.
Yeah. Well, I've always been curious about this, and I know you cite a lot of these sources in the stories itself, but where do you gather all of the COVID information that you put up every day?
90% of it comes from Gary Vocio's folks, friends at Georgia Department of Public Health. We'll get some, of course, from the hospitals every day. Tim Harrington, our emergency management director, Tim and Tom out at EMA do a great job giving us all the hospital data. I mean, good news today, we have, let me look off screen here, 83 people being treated for 83 COVID patients at Rome and Redmond, what do we call them today? Atrium Floyd Health, whatever the new names are, 2 hospitals in town. being treated. That's the lowest we've had since January 4th. That's good news there. Same time, we have 8 deaths over the weekend. Well, you add those 8 deaths back up and you kind of see what's happening. But they do a good job with us. They help provide that stuff. We get a lot of information from responsible sources. Everything we try to do is sourced. I mean, we either use national sources, CDC, something like that, or locally, again, Department of Public Health, the hospitals, but everything we do is sourced. Linked.
Doctor,
Go ahead.
let me ask you a quick question, because everybody may not be familiar, but how did the hometown headlines get started? Because it's such a staple in the community. I mean, I get people forward me links from stories in hometown headline. So what was the impetus behind it, and how did it get started?
18 years ago, there was a different ownership and a different management, the Rome News Tribune, and we butted heads. The first year, the job was perfect, but we butted heads toward the end of the road. And I was basically said, on January 12th of 2004, hit the bricks. And I said, okay, we'd been here 20 or 18, 19, 20 months. We liked it here. We moved here to raise our son. We liked, we had a school we picked out for him. We liked the community. My wife had a great job at Berry College. And we just said, we're staying. And I had owned, of all things, the hometown headlines at one time was going to be, when I retire, whenever that may be, was going to be more of a news analysis, kind of PR marketing thing. I coined that phrase. I've used that phrase at 3 other papers before I got here. And we owned it. We owned hometownheadlines.com. And the day I got canned, I went out and got a cell phone. I got business cards printed up. And a young man, David W. Hall III, y'all may recall David, was running a web creation firm in town. We were buddies from the baseball games. I said, okay, I need a website. How soon can you do it? And on January 28th of that year, we launched Hometown Headlines, more about, here's some news headlines and here's some news advice. And we saw immediately that the headlines just took off. I mean, you can tell, the stories are getting read, and we had some good sources here and some good sources we brought up with us from Atlanta. And we kind of said, okay, we're going news. And we kept on doing news ever since. And it's grown. First year, pretty slim. It was a tough first year for us. And advertisers and others said, well, why am I going to give you back then like $60 a month for an ice cube size ad that I don't doesn't even exist in reality? Well, luckily, over the next couple of years, that reality became what is today's reality. And we were lucky. I mean, don't get me wrong, we were blessed. We had people who helped us along the way: Dana Thompson, Natalie Sims, Mills Fitzman, Norman Airy, contributors, columns, ideas. The community, you talk about it takes a village. Some folks don't like that term. I got news for you. This is a news village. We get tips all day. Some of them aren't true. We don't post until we kind of verify. Okay. So but still the people have been, we have a young lady who's a journalism student down the street now, who's at Rome High School, who's one of come to our top contributors. She loves taking photos of what's happening around town. It's wonderful.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's great. That's great. You mentioned the difficulty that you've had managing, I guess you could say, unruly commentary on articles. I think that's something that all online media are having to deal with. Has that not always existed to some degree, or is it just something?
The Facebook, but even before Facebook, you had chat rooms on newspapers and webs and radio stations and all. When Facebook became what it is, I thought it would give us more credibility because, quite frankly, people see your name and your photo when you post a comment. Other way around, we created, digital superstars or influencers or whatever we call them in the community. And they love to be the one to have the most outlandish comment or whatever it is. And I thought it would kind of, another quick example. In the radio days, there would be mornings we would beg people to call us. Not beg, but, hey, what's your opinion on blah, blah, blah? The Rams won Super Bowl last night. What do you think? We might get one call because people didn't want their voice on radio. Facebook, they don't care. They'll say what they want to say. And in politics has motivated us a bit. I mean, both sides, Democrats, Republicans, I don't care what it is. There are people on both sides who are super passionate, I guess. It is. I mean, and the thing is, we can get sued for it. If you put something up on Hometown Headlines Facebook page or social media, and we let it go as the publishers, we get sued for it. No,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
Don't want that.
It's interesting that you say that, because I know over the years, you can talk to people out in town and they have all these comments and they have all these grievances. You say, well, come on to the show. That's okay. They don't want to come on. So they want to tell you about it, but they don't want to officially be seen. A lot of times discussing the issue. So we share that. We share that with you.
Well, and we kind of made a step with this a few years back. We kind of became the place people would go to and kind of want to drop some dirt on us, which is great. Okay, we not great, but we'll check it out, whatever it is. But I said, your voice as being somebody inside a government or inside organization is much stronger than mine. Or if you're in a community, you're opposing something, rather than have Hometown Headlines or the Rome News Tribune be the voice. Put your voice and your face behind it. It brings more credibility. Those dropped off dramatically. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are shy, or maybe they're shy, maybe they don't want the attention, maybe they're afraid of the social status. I don't know. But to me, it's stronger when the community speaks. That's what we want. That's what we should be listening to, is when people talk.
Well, we've only got a couple of minutes left, so I wanted to ask you if there are anything. Of course, COVID is the ongoing story, but what are some things you anticipate coming up that we need to look for that are developing stories?
Well, my future is riding on this one. So keep an eye on what's happening on I-75 in particular. What we're hearing from some very good sources. Unfortunately, we can't link them in yet because they don't want to be identified. That a major auto-related thing will happen north of Adairsville, south of Calhoun, probably Union Grove, near Buc-ee's. And we're hoping that's going to come out in the next 2 weeks. But apparently it could be as many as 2,000 new jobs for our area, probably involving some part of electrical vehicles.
Well, I always wonder when I hear about, an expansion or a new employer in the area, because, where are those employees going to come from? We've had so much trouble with people filling positions lately. So it'll be interesting to see where those jobs are filled, how they are filled.
We're seeing that right now, because better jobs mean people will leave the current job and go to that higher paying job. And that's why you're seeing the restaurants and some retailers struggle right now, because everybody's getting more competitive. All of a sudden, it's more than $7.50 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is a story we will look for. And I just want to, we got less than a minute now. So want to thank you again for everything that you're doing with Hometown Headlines, and look forward to working with you in the future
Absolutely.
with our broadcasts, and hope this new partnership with Rome News is everything you think it will be. So it sounds great.
Well, thank you. And I challenge you guys both again, keep me honest. All right.
Will do.
Yeah. I was going to say, yo.
All right. Well, thank you all for being with us on Community Watch this time, and we will see you next time. So till then, take care.
Take charge of your future at GHC. Apply now at highlands.edu.